The keys! What's going on, Falcons fans? Logan here. Welcome back to Rise Up Rundown. And if you're new here, welcome. I hope you all washed your eyes and cleaned your head after that Thursday night game, because that was absolutely atrocious and a disgrace to all Falcons fans watching that. I don't know if that was the worst Falcons performance I've ever seen in my life, but man, I'll definitely remember it as at least like a top 5 or 10 worst performance I've ever seen. Ugh, that was ugly, and everyone watched it, so that was the embarrassing thing. The Falcons have really not been good in prime time for a while now, so I understand why the NFL is only giving us one primetime game a year, and if we keep playing like this, I'd be okay with 0 primetime games, because this is embarrassing, but all of a sudden, every Falcons fan's playoff expectations came from, this is kind of getting interesting, to, why did we start believing in this team? Now, it could be way worse. It really could. It could be way, 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 way worse, and we'll get to more of that in a second, but I'll start to say all the negative things that I'm seeing from this team and why I overall do kind of feel, I'll be honest, as a content creator, I won't sugarcoat it, I do kind of think that our playoff chances are not very likely, but again, it could be worse. But let's start with all the negatives that I'm seeing, and they're really big negatives. Number one, very obviously, the quarterback situation sucks. It sucks. What makes me mad is whenever people on Twitter or something are like the Falcons got Kyle Pitts and Drake London in the first round, and they're not being utilized. Is this, not concerning you guys? Do you, why do you think they're not getting utilized? Why do you think the Falcons are running the ball most of the time? Because they don't have a quarterback. That was extremely obvious, and it makes me mad whenever they're like, why are they not getting utilized? Because they don't have a quarterback. Duh. I don't know what else to tell you. Marcus Mariota last Thursday proved, I'm pretty sure he won't have a bounce back season. I'm so happy I stayed away from making that bold prediction. When I was making my bold predictions before the season started, I was gonna say Marcus Mariota has a little bit of a bounce back season, but I'm happy I stayed away from that one. I think all of us knew deep down there was no way he was just gonna flip the switch and just be this great quarterback. No, he's who he is. He's become a better quarterback than he was in years past, sure. He's using his tools more than he used to. He's a great mobile quarterback. He can use his legs, and he's using his head a little more than he used to. But as a passer of the football, yuck. That is absolutely atrocious to watch. And this Falcons team will not be a playoff team if Marcus Mariota can't step things up. And already people are saying, why isn't Marcus Mariota benched? I agree, I am ready to see Desmond Ridder play, but that kind of leads to my other concern is Desmond Ridder even ready to play? I mean, he was a 3rd round quarterback. All of these quarterbacks in the 2022 rookie class, let's be real, they basically weren't selected until way late in the draft. I know Kenny Pickett was in the 1st round, but the Steelers kind of had to pick him up because they needed a quarterback, right? Realistically, I don't think Kenny Pickett would have been selected in the 1st round, maybe even the 2nd round if the Steelers weren't so desperate for a quarterback. This quarterback class, whatever the consensus said about them coming in, I think is true. They're just not ready. Kenny Pickett doesn't look ready. Malik Willis doesn't look ready. I don't even know if any other quarterback started. I don't even know who else was playing, but basically we're hearing nothing about them. And I'm worried about Desmond Ridder. I know he didn't play yet, so it's not really fair to judge him yet, but at the same time, are your expectations for a 3rd round quarterback all that high? I think he should play, don't get me wrong. I think you gotta at least see what you got in him. Maybe he is the next Dak Prescott like everyone's comparing him to. And he played well in the preseason, so there's some things going for him, and we'll get to a little more of that in the second, but it's a 3rd round quarterback who may or may not be ready to play, and then Marcus Mariota. So the passing game is already a huge concern. You got the weapons. You got Kyle Pitts and Drake London, And Arthur Smith is doing good at calling the plays, but this quarterback situation has literally got to step up. And you know what else has got to step up? The pass rush and really the whole entire defense. Like, I know the secondary is injured, but I don't think it's a matter of just being healthy, because there's a difference between being healthy and good. Just because our secondary could be healthy doesn't necessarily mean that they could be good. Like, Casey Hayward was fine before he got injured, but I think he's still got to do a little better. And AJ Terrell, again, he was picking up the pace, and we do need him back, but he still wasn't really having the best year of his life, right? So they got to get healthy, and yeah, we do need them to get in instead of, Cornell Armstrong and whatnot, but still, though, like, they haven't really been all of that great, right? Everyone else in the secondary, like Isaiah Oliver, yet again, like he always does, he shows flashes, but doesn't actually stay consistent on the field. And then Cornell Armstrong has made some plays, but he's still not this great corner. Richie Grant and Jalen Hawkins are fine, but still need to step up. Like, that secondary is getting picked apart. I believe we are literally dead last in pass defense, so that just speaks for itself. And pass rush, just like, do the Falcons even know what the definition of pass rush is? Like, we can just never get something going. Grady Jarrett's having a monster year. Lorenzo Carter is doing good, but and Arnold Ebiketie has been here and there, I guess. But man, this pass rush, this whole entire defense, like the linebackers have been very disappointing. Michael Walker kind of keeps getting in and out. Like, I don't know, like this defense has always been a problem. But yeah, that's another reason I'm concerned. Like, this defense just isn't very good. We should have lost to the Panthers in week 8 had the Panthers kicker not missed the PAT. That Hail Mary should have done it for us, and that was on the defense. And, like, against the Chargers, we couldn't really make any great defensive stops. Like, this defense just as a whole really needs to be better, and it's just not. Like, it's not a good defense. And then my last concern is that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are kind of picking up the pace. I mean, Tom Brady, as like memeable, if that's a word, as it is, the divorce seems to be making him play better, weirdly, I guess. I don't know. Like, Tom Brady is playing better, and the Buccaneers are kind of picking up the pace. And if they're playing like this, I don't know if we're going to keep in pace with them. So those are my 3 concerns. Like, the passing game is not there. We can win with running the ball, sure. And running the ball is becoming a little more effective than it used to be in years past, but still got to pass the ball. And then the defense sucks, and then the Buccaneers are picking up the pace. But even though it sounds like it's all doom and gloom for us, it's not the worst thing in the world. We could somehow miraculously win this division if the Buccaneers go back to how they were early on and they just have kind of been disappointing. Or we could, like, pick up a 7th seed and maybe that's it. For one thing, the NFC is weaker. Like, like the Bears, we have to play them next, so that's going to be pretty telling. But if we can beat the Bears, we can get the tiebreaker there, because the Bears and Justin Fields are very scary right now. But I don't know if they're a playoff team, but they could be. And then the Commanders, we got to play them soon after that. They're also kind of picking up the pace too. But they're still not, no one's really writing them as a playoff team at the moment, right? Like, they're kind of just like wait and see with them. And the Falcons have to play them, so if we can beat them, they are winnable games. That'd be pretty big for us. And speaking of, winning games, we have some surprising tiebreakers, just in case. We beat the 49ers and the Seahawks, so a surprising tiebreaker there if it comes down to that. And, I know this kind of goes back to the other thing I said, but there are some winnable games coming up. Like the Cardinals, we could win that game. Steelers, we could win that game. I know that team is in the AFC, but we could win, is all I'm really saying, and that could help improve our record, of course. Saints is a winnable game. So there's some winnable games coming up, and we could kind of like my schedule predictions over the offseason, how I said we could maybe finish at best with like 8 wins. And I don't think with an NFC that's pretty weak, I don't think that's all that impossible to at least make a 7th seed. It's really not that impossible, but we have to win out a lot of those games and get at least some sort of tiebreaker there with most of those teams. And another thing is that the NFC South is not, it's really not great. Like I know I just said that the Buccaneers are picking up the pace, but you never know. Like maybe they go back to how they were early on in the season and they kind of drop off a bit. We were in first place for hopefully a reason. So hopefully that wasn't just some fluky moment. It shows that this team is pretty resilient. It's not like we've been terrible all year. We've been winning some big games. We beat the 49ers, who are definitely a playoff team. Beat the Seahawks. I think they're probably a playoff team at this point. We've been having some pretty big wins, so it's not like we just can't, it's not like we're just, you know what I'm trying to say? Basically, we're not this, terribly fraudulent team, is all I'm trying to say. That was, a huge struggle to say, but, yeah, it really comes down to, the NFC and the NFC South is a little weaker, so we could still make playoffs and take advantage of that, and there's some winnable games coming up for the Falcons. And the last thing is that at least the Falcons have an identity on how they want to win. It's not like they're just winning games out of their ass. They at least know how they want to win. They can run the ball very well. Arthur Smith, I think, is doing good. Marcus Mariota at times can step up and be a great quarterback, but he's got to consistently do that. So it could be way worse for us. It really could. But I'll be honest, I just don't think this is a playoff team at the moment. But let's hope that they pick up the pace. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And I will see you guys with a video this Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern. Love and appreciate you all for the support. And as always, rise up.